I have my formidable media team here, headed by Francis Dufe, and of course, trying to get everything over to you via Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I also have David Tete Manche in the studio. James Audi Jr. is also in the studio, and they are all helping to bring things over to you. Shadrach Adenu Shedi is here with us. And even outside the studio, we have people working to send notifications, to develop backgrounds, and so on. Nutifafa Segbenya is doing just that. And Seth Nate is Setho is also doing the same to support through these formidable gentlemen. We're able to bring you this program on social media through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And so, if you are listening to me and you want to watch the program, then quickly go into our Facebook. The address is JB Gate, Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube, and then you can follow me live. You can follow me live. I want to send a special shout out um, to my kid brother, Atukwamina Gati, who celebrated his birthday on Friday, the 9th of this month. That is the 9th of April. So Atu, hey, Ozo, God bless, live long and prosper. And then my own daughter, my firstborn, she's Juanita Araba, now Gati Isubontin. Hey, one, happy birthday. Happy birthday. You celebrated your birthday yesterday, and you couldn't take it when throughout the day daddy hadn't called you. So it was exciting when I called you in the evening. I was all over, trying to sort a few things out. So I couldn't call. But hey, we had a wonderful time this afternoon when the entire family decided to visit you. So happy birthday, Juanita. And kudos to Yofi Esubontin. That's my son-in-law. And let me even remove the in-law, because he's my son. Brilliant and very wonderful son. I mean, we can't help talking about issue because he is so brilliant, and that's my proud son. So, hey, Yofi, continue to celebrate your wife, okay? Ma minyim de will celebrate, but one do won't celebrate. Them no ye. That's why you are married. And so when you need to have more fans that are more high five, so you are the best. And continue being the best. And this goes directly to you. So hey, God bless you folks. And in that may serious dedication number one, and you deserve it. And why don't I even dedicate this entire program to you, Juanita? On your birthday. So celebrate you, Mr. and Mrs. Gate Isubontin. And regards to your dad, Osofu Isubontin. Good. So let me also announce that every Wednesday, if you are listening to me right now, every Wednesday from 12 noon, every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. From 12 noon to 1 p.m. I come on live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. With a program, Lunchtime with Fathers. Lunchtime with Fathers. This comes to you every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. And so you can also catch me there on JB Gate. Just move in there, like the page, follow, subscribe, and then share and be my guest over lunch, with fathers. So lunchtime with fathers every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. Let's come together and reason together as fathers. We need to stand up and be counted as fathers. Good. So that is it. But for tonight, we're still considering the main theme, mothers of destiny. And we've already looked at Rebecca. And tonight we want to continue looking at Jochebed. Jochebed was the mother of Moses. But you see, there are a few things we need to learn about Jochebed. And she is definitely, um, for me, a mother of destiny. Why do I say so? Now we read in Hebrews chapter 11, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23, the Bible says, excuse me, by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents because they saw he was a beautiful child and they were not afraid of the king's command. So here in Hebrews, talking about Moses, when he was born, and so of course it wasn't the faith of Moses because he was a baby, but it says by faith Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents. So we're talking about the faith of his parents. And why did they hide him? Because he was a beautiful child. And I explained that it wasn't just the looks of Moses that made them hide him. Because, hey, no matter how a child looks, that child is beautiful to the parents. But there is something about this whole beauty that we're talking about. And we looked at the remarks of Stephen when just before he was stoned to death, when he was narrating the history of Israel. So in Acts chapter um, chapter 7, verse 20, Stephen also says this. At this time, Moses was born, and he was well pleasing to God, and he was brought up in his father's house for 3 months. But when he was set out, Pharaoh's daughter took him, and the story continues. But Stephen explains what the parents of Moses saw. The writer of Hebrews says he was a beautiful child, but Stephen says he was well pleasing to God. So there was more to the physical or the external looks. That baby was more pleasing to God, and it took a mother of destiny to perceive that this son of mine is not just beautiful, but is also pleasing to God. And so together with the father Amram, they hid the baby for 3 months. Now, why three? I mean, what's the significance of this 3 months? Of course, at that time, the Pharaoh had given a command that every male child that was born to the Hebrews should be killed. And so mothers were voluntarily killing their babies who were male. But when Jochebed and the Amram had their baby, they saw something in that baby. And so for 3 months, they kept the baby and they dared the command of the king. But then, after 3 months, now the baby was crying louder, and everybody could hear that there was a baby in that house. So what did Jochebed do? Um, let me go back and read again from Exodus chapter 2 and starting from verse 1. It says, and the man of the house of Levi went and took as a wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. Verse 3 says, but when she could no longer hide him, that is after 3 months when the baby was already big, she took an ark of bulrushes for him. And this is what Jochebed did. She took an ark of bulrushes for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch, and put the child in and laid it in the reeds by the river's banks. Now, and his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. So this was purely the activity of the mother of Moses. This mother of destiny saw that the child was beautiful, saw that the child was well pleasing to God, saw that the child was a bundle of destiny. And so she didn't want to waste that child. And after 3 months, when she could no longer hide the child, she decided to do something purely out of faith. So she, built this little basket or little, ark of bulrushes, made sure that she had sealed every hole in it with asphalt and pitch, and then put the child in and send the child to the river bank. Why she did that, only she knew, and it was faith that made her do that. And she did not end there. She asked the big sister of Moses, Miriam, to hide in the bushes and saw what would happen. Now, while Miriam was hiding and the baby in that little ark was still floating on the river, we are told from verse 5 that the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw a child, and behold, the child wept. So she had compassion on him. Then said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Now she discovered this. And the question is, why didn't she kill that baby? Because it was a baby boy born to the Hebrews. And she could tell that this is one of the Hebrews' children. And it was a male. And her father had given the command that every male child born should be killed. So it was a clear situation where the daughter of Pharaoh could easily have killed the child, since she knew that that child was a Hebrew child. But you see, God had to do something with the weeping of Moses. Just as the working of the lepers, was amplified in the ears of the Syrians and caused them to run away, so the crying of this little child turned the heart, and God amplified it. And so the daughter of Pharaoh developed compassion instead of hatred. And as soon as Miriam realized that the daughter of Pharaoh had had compassion on that little child, she emerged from her hideout and ran straight to the woman and said, shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew woman, that she may nurse the child for you? And where are you from? Who are you? Whose child is this? And so on. Nothing came up like that. But the daughter of Pharaoh said, go. Just one word, go. And Miriam went and brought her own mother, who was also the mother of Moses, Jochebed. And so she came, and Pharaoh's daughter said to her, verse 9, take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. I will give you your wages. And um, so the woman took the child and nursed him. Now the child grew, and so on and on. Now, last week we looked at Jochebed in this context, and we first considered her faith. Her faith. The fact that in her faith, number one, Jochebed served the Lord. She worshipped the God of her fathers. She believed in the God of miracles. I mean, trust me, it takes a lot of faith to put your child, your bundle of destiny, in an ark of bulrushes and leave that ark in water. I mean, that thing could have drifted away, and that would have been the end of the baby. So she placed that baby in harm's way, but she did it out of faith and said, Miriam, you hide in here while I place this thing there, and make sure you follow that thing with your eyes. And then the mother left. It took faith, and it took somebody who believed in the God of miracles. Anything can happen, and the miracles started happening. Number one, the fact that the ark did not drift away was a miracle. The fact that Pharaoh's daughter came around at that time was not just a coincidence, it was a miracle. The fact that the child cried, and his cry created compassion rather than betraying the child as a Hebrew child that needed to be killed. Oh, that's another miracle. Then when Miriam stepped out and made that suggestion, the woman did not question. She only said, go. That's the third, the fourth, is it the fourth or so miracle? So this whole thing was, clouded in miracles. And it was all because one woman dared to believe God, dared to believe in the God of miracles. So she served the Lord and believed in the God of miracles. Then she also saw the destiny of the child. She saw beyond what other mothers saw. So here you have Jochebed seeing the child, but not with the same eyes that other women were seeing their children, because they were killing their children and obeying the edict of Pharaoh. But because Jochebed saw with a different eye and saw destiny in that child, she dared the command of the king, and she was not afraid of the king, because she knew that that baby was destined to become great. And she sensed greatness in that child. Let me ask you, what would you do if somebody told you that your son would be great, probably the next president of the nation? Your son would be the next representative of his people in his constituency, that your son would be the next general overseer and in town, that your son would be the next commander, the next police commander, and what have you. Would you be harsh on that boy? Would you allow that boy to play anyhow? So why do parents allow their children to run around? Some are found in the streets. Some are so careless. They come from school. They are in town. They run around with their friends, and it appears that nobody cares. Trust me, it's all because you do not see the value in your child, if you knew what you were carrying, if you knew the baby that God gave you, if you knew the destiny of that little boy, of that little girl, you wouldn't allow them to do things anyhow. You would preserve them, and you would seize every opportunity to ensure that they are protected, they are preserved, and they are prepared for the future. And so it took the faith of Jochebed to do what she did.
Asempa FM.
Number two, we also talked about her fortitude. Her fortitude, not just her faith, but also her fortitude. She was a strong woman, and she was ready to defy the decree of Pharaoh. And those were days that the Pharaoh was dreaded, and anything the Pharaoh said was, had to be obeyed to the letter. But this woman of destiny defied Pharaoh's decree, and by so doing, put her entire family at risk. Can you imagine if Pharaoh's daughter had become antagonistic when she discovered that the baby was a Hebrew child, and this little girl came around to scam her? No, she would have ordered the killing of that little baby, the killing of Miriam, and they would look for the mother and also deal with that mother. And then, of course, the father would also be dealt with. So the act, that single act of Jochebed, placed the entire family at risk. But out of her fortitude, she did it. She believed in a God who controlled destiny. And so she was not shaken. She was not shaken. She demonstrated courage by placing the child by the stream, and by daring the fact that anything could have happened to that child. For her to have stepped out to even design the basket or the ark was an act of fortitude. It took a strong woman, a courageous woman, to act that way. Etefo ma America nyinara onye de mensisem kakra da America nyide sise yerusua bibi efi Jochebed a oye Moses ne maame, na ndzama kakra na yerusua efi no ho. Odzinkan yesua bibi afa Jochebed ni jedi, the faith of Jochebed. Na yehunde adam obai onam de ɔgye ne ba ne daakye dzi ne nti wampo ne ba no. Abere a na Pharaoh waka dɛ Jiwnyi biara a ɔbɔwo ɔba benyin no wonku abɔfra no, nti efi ɔbaa biara a ɔbɔwo biara no, ayamhyehyɛ abefie ewo na wo ba benyin a woyam hyehyɛ osan dɛ Pharaoh si wonkun sɛ enkun a nara baba abɔhwehwɛ no na wekun na dza ɔwɔ dɛ ɔdze yɛ obiara ɔdze ayɛ. Enti no na mmaa no nyinaa no wɔte isuro mu. Na dɛm abere no na wɔwo Moses. Na wɔwo Moses no, kyerɛsɛm yɛte ase dɛ ne ba kyerɛsɛm yɛte ase dɛ ne maame na ne papa wohun dɛ abɔfra no yɛ fɛw. Wohun dɛ ɔyɛ fɛw, na mmerekyerɛ mu akyerɛ dɛ ɛnyɛ dɛ abɔfra no ho na ɔyɛ fɛw kɛkɛ, osiane dɛ baatan biara ne ba no ho yɛ ne fɛw. Ɔno ɔte dɛ no koraa, baatan biara ne ba no ho yɛ ne fɛw. Na dɛm ahoɔfɛw yi ɛna Sam Stephen ansa na wɔrebɛsiw n'abo no, na ɔrepreach no, ne preaching nyinaa no na ɔreka Israel abakɔsam. Na okoduru baby na ɔreka Israel abakɔsam no, ɔkasa fa Moses ho ɔkasa fa no ho na ɔkyerɛ dɛ na n'agya na ne na wohun dɛ Moses yɛ abofra bi a ɔsɔ nyame anyi ɔyɛ abofra takaba no koraa mpo no he was well pleasing to God. Jochebed nya dam gyedzi no dɛ na ɔdze hunu ne ba ne daakye na ohun dɛ abofra no sɛbi ɔmbɛyɛ abofra hunu bi na ɔbɛyɛ nyame ne de hye nti no dɛmra ɔte biara no Jochebed nya gyedzi wɔ nyame a otum ɔsesa hyɛbere mu na ɔyɛ dɛ abofra yi munku no na mmom mede ne besie na yɛnyim dza Jochebed ɔyɛ na dɛm ɔyɛ a ɔhyehyɛ biribi te dɛ kɛntɛn na ɔdze adze tum asphalt na coal tile ɔdze fefem dɛm ɔbɛyɛ a nsu yi nkom ɔhyehyɛ no kama na ɔdze ne ba Moses ɔdze no tum dɛm abere na Moses enya bɛyɛ bosom 3 na ɔdze no tum na ɔdze no kesi nsu ho dɛ dɛm ɔbɛyɛ a obi bohun na nya obi hun kɛkɛ na ɔbɛyɛ sɛbe eyi Pharaoh ne babaa na ɔba hɔ dɛ ɔreba abogua na dza Jochebed ɔyɛ mbio so ɔnye dɛ ɔyɛ dɛm nyinaa wie no na ɔdze ne ba Miriam ɔdze ne kɛhyɛ hɔ dɛ tetaw mfuw mu ha na hwɛ dza obesi na Miriam so katetaw yɛ ohun dɛ Pharaoh ne ba na aba hɔ no ɔboguare no ɔyɛ dzin Pharaoh ne ba kohun dɛ adze si wɔ ɔmɔso wɔnkafa mbra wɔkafa ɛbɛyɛ a obuedu a ɔyɛ ɔbabanyin Hebrew nyi Jew nyi ne ba nanso abofra no sui ma dɛm su no ɔka n'akoma ɛnyame wɔ kwan a ɔfa do dze yɛ n'adze okodur beebi no nkwatafo yi a anani yi a na wɔwɔ Samaria na Syriafo yi woatwa Samaria ho ahyia ma ɛkɔm aba Israel man mu no dam bere a wɔka dɛ yɛnkɔ na yɛwu a yɛbɛwu yɛtena ha a yɛbɛwu yɛkɔ so a ebi nso a na yɛnwu na wotu dɛm anamɔn no nyame ma hɔn nantew no ɔkɛyɛ dɛ chariot a mpempem a wɔnam nti ɔma sɛbi akwatafo anan no hɔn nantew a na wɔnam no ɔwoso wɔ asase yiyɛ nti no Syria asodafo no soldiers no woguane nyame botum afa bibi kitikiti do wa amplify no no ɔdze asesa wo hyɛber na Moses ne su kɛkɛ maame ne tee no wandwe ne ho po de yɛ Hebrew enye abofro na mpapa sin dɛ ho na ɔte dɛm nyinaa yɛnku wɔn dabi nyame dan isu no into something else na ɔbaa ne tee no ne yɛ mehyen na onya ayɛmhyehyɛ dze ma abofra no ntoka na Miriam hun dɛ maame na ahyɛ ase nya ayɛmhyehyɛ ama baby ne pɛ na opue hɔ ara ɔse monkɔ nkafa Hebrewfo maamefo no bi mbra na ɔmbɔhwɛ wo bɛyi mmɔn a Asempa FM Pharaoh ne ba no so ampopo no ti okay ɔso kɔ na ɔkafa nnara nkasa ne maame a ɔyɛ Moses so ne maame na ɔdze ne bɛyɛ a Pharaoh ne bɛyi ɔdze ɛba banyini ɔdze hyɛ ne maame nsa Jochebed nsa na ɔso hwɛ ne do mam na motua wo kaw nti nkyɛ abofra a ɔwɔ dɛ wokunu no sii sɛ wenye nkun na mmom ɔsane ba fie hɔ ara beebi a wɔwon ne biribiara na efi edziban a abofra ne bedi no wɔdze fi ahemfie na wɔdze brɛ no atare a abofra ne bɛhyɛ no wɔdze fi ahemfie na wɔdze brɛ no na ne nhwɛ na ne biribiara mu wɔdze fi ahemfie ne maame na wawo ne ba na wenkun na ɔriske no efi dɛm maame na ɔrehwɛ nara nkasa ne ba ɔrema nara ne ba enufu ɔrema nara ne ba ntete na wɔsan so tua ne kaw ka ho. Na sɛ iyi nye ɔbaa gyedzifo a na ɔyɛ hwana bio. And so that was the faith. Na dza ɔtɔ do ebien yɛ fortitude. Ne gyedzi no ma onyaa akukuduru bi ma in fact Jochebed na ɔyɛ ɔkukudurufo osiane dɛ ɔhene aka dɛ yɛnyɛ dɛ ɔse mempen mebɛyi a ɔno ɔyɛ soronko nti no sɛ ɔhene aka o sɛ ɔhene nkan o mmɔhwɛ mo ba. And that defiance showed a strong woman na nyame so tua ne kaw wɔ ne kwan mu. Nti dam na yɛresua, we've looked at the faith of Jochebed. We have looked at the fortitude of Jochebed. Na dza ɔtɔ do ebaasa no, the third thing, let's look at her fortune, her faith, her fortitude, and her fortune. And you see, the entire miracle was not even the fact that she was being paid or that the supplies to take care of the child were sent daily from the palace. But the miracle is that she ended up raising her own son. So by the time Moses was old and now had to be sent to the palace, Jochebed had put in Moses everything that the child needed to know. Jochebed taught Moses about the God of his fathers. Moses, you are not from here. This is our history. The God of your fathers called our father Abraham and so on. And Jochebed had opportunity to raise her own son, to teach him whatever he needed to know. And so, though Moses was considered the daughter of Pharaoh, God worked it out in such a way that his initial training was done by his mother, a Hebrew, was done in the context of the Hebrew society. So Moses was initially raised in Goshen and not in the palace. So Jochebed profited. In fact, her faith and her fortitude brought her great fortune, one of which was the opportunity and the privilege of preserving her son. So while others were supposed to kill their sons, Jochebed had the the royal protection for her son. I mean, it's so amazing. And it only takes a mother of destiny who saw the end of her son, and that made her take this step. She preserved her son, and then, of course, she prospered for nursing her own child. And I keep saying this, that listen, the food the child ate, the clothes the child wore, the toys the child played with were all provided by the daughter of Pharaoh, by the princess of the nation. The princess deemed and considered Moses to be her own son, a son she found by the riverside. And so she had to provide everything for the upkeep of that boy. So, food, clothing, shelter, medication, entertainment, everything she provided. I wouldn't be surprised if she even moved Jochebed into a better house, a better apartment, so that that boy could grow up in a good environment because he was the daughter of Pharaoh. She prospered. Jochebed prospered. So her faith and fortitude paid off. And of course, she was also given some good remuneration. She didn't have to work. I want to believe that Amram didn't have to work because the Pharaoh of the land was paying them. She was paid for taking care, for nursing, and for nurturing her own child. And that was a miracle. And Jochebed, in fact, didn't know everything. She didn't know that she was preparing the deliverer of Israel. Oh, that mother. That mother saw that beautiful child. She saw destiny in that child. But little did she know that that child would turn out to deliver the entire nation from the clutches of that same Pharaoh who took care of him. So this is it. Her faith and her fortitude brought her fortune. She preserved her own son. She prospered for nursing her own child, and she prepared her son to become the deliverer of Israel. Now, Moses, according to the story of Stephen, Moses was trained in all the wisdom of the Egyptian, and so Moses was mighty in words and in deeds. Moses became such a scholar, and if we remember, in our primary school days, we learned that civilization began along the banks of River Nile, which included Egypt. And the Pharaoh of Egypt was the most powerful person in the then known world, that portion of the world. And so, if civilization began by the banks of that river, then in Egypt, then you can be sure that somebody who was being raised to become the the next Pharaoh, or somebody who was being raised as a prince in that royal home, would receive the best of education. And we are told he was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. He received the best of education. He got to know the culture, the language, and everything of the Egyptians. But you see, the mother had already built a solid foundation in Moses. So no matter what, Moses never forgot the fact that he was a Hebrew and not an Egyptian. Moses ne maame ni gyedi o ɔma onya ho mfaso. Otumi kura nara nkasa ne ba do. Otumi hwɛ nara nkasa ne ba so ma ɔde nya ho sika. Wotua ne kaw. Megye dzi dɛ wenhia ne biom da. Osande ina Pharaoh ne baba afa no na ɔretua ne kaw. Nti no onya na akatua no fi Pharaoh na ahemfie directly. Nti ɛna no onya no mfaso. Ɛna no nya ne mfaso. Na ne gyezi anyɛ kwa. Na kokuduru no so anyɛ kwa. Afi ɛbɛyɛ a ɛna yi wo na ɔnam dza ohu ne nti wampere dɛ oboku no wanyɛ basabasa. Dɛm ɛbɛyi na sana ɔyɛ Israel nyinara hɔne gyefo. And looking at Moses, he became the greatest name in Israel. Okodu baby and na yɛka dɛ Moses zimbra ne bɛy na Kristo ɔdze nkwagye ne bɛy, and the Old Testament kasa for Moses and the New Testament kasa for Kristo, and these two entities and these two personalities in a waje hen. Moses mechi ono ka oji Israel fi nkwasum odze mbra no odze be nti dza okodo wo Israel fo hona asetsena nyina no ni nyinara yebeka de ofi Moses ofi Jochebed ne be. Now who takes the credit? Oye Jochebed. If Jochebed had not seen destiny in Moses, if she had not had the faith, if she had not expressed the fortitude, then Israel would not have had a deliverer. And God would not have had a man to lead them out of slavery and to bring them the law. And so that was Jochebed. Now, let me do some quick acknowledgement. There is Nabi Ajwa Amur, and she says, "Hello, Daddy. Hello, Nabi." And I have Professor Spencer Duncan. Wow, he is on the line. FM. And my own wife of Mami, and she's the greatest fan on this program. She is there. There is Akosia, Akos Dawe. There is Cassie Mantok, and a few others. I think I'm missing them. But wherever you are, if you are joining me either on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram, that's fine. Yeah, let's do this every time, and the Lord will bless you. The monitor just sees, so I'm not getting the name, but that's okay as long as you can hear me. But this is the story of Jochebed. She was a woman of faith, she was a woman of fortitude, and then she became a woman of fortune. And her fortune was not only in terms of the money she had, but in also the fame. And the child she sought to preserve later became the deliverer of Israel. Can you imagine how the mother would feel? My son, the deliverer. My son, the lawgiver. And the name of Moses became a byword in Israel, and it still is. And it's all because Jochebed stood and fought. That is what makes her a mother of destiny. One of the great hymns of the church says, God moves in a mysterious way, his wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps in the sea and rides upon the storm. Deep in unfathomable minds of never failing skill, he treasures up his bright designs and works his sovereign will. That is the God we serve. He works in ways that are not common, that are not known to men. His ways are not predictable. Now, sometimes when we preachers preach as if we know everything about God, we preachers preach as if we can even determine God's next move, and we think we can predict Him. But hey, the hymn writer says he moves in mysterious ways, and I agree with him. We do not understand. And he himself says his ways are far above our ways. And how he empowered this mother of destiny, and how this mother of destiny acted in faith, held on in fortitude, and ended up with the fortune. And one of the fortunes being the fact that she gave us Moses, kept Moses alive, educated Moses, gave Moses the primary education he needed. And that was all Moses needed to hang on to know that he was a Hebrew and to lead the people out of Egypt. I pray for you, a mother, every mother listening to me. Just as Moses grew, became honorable, and preserved the mother, prospered the mother, I pray that your children will become restorers of hope. Mbana nyamedze hona ma wono ma wombeye nkrofo bi a woba ma wenyi dado asan abebio. May your children become redeemers of your estate. May your children become the reward of your labor. May that your children become the realizers of your dream. May your children live to refresh your soul. May the children for whose sake you are sacrificing today become the reason for your joy later. May your children live to raise your aspiration. May your children live to remove your pain and to repair your life. Nyamema wombana ende bɔhɔn ho kaw ɛrebrɛ ɛrekyi hɔn ho nyinsua ɛretɔn wo ndzɛmba de hwɛ hɔn no ma nyame mmoa na wɔmbɛyi wɔnyɛ beebi nsi na wɔmbɔhwɛ wo. Mother of destiny, abana akyin wenwa na ɛrehwɛ no no ɛretu wo mmɔwerɛmu na ɛrehwɛ no no, nyame ma ɔnsie na ɔmpepa wenwa mu nyinsua. Nyame ma wo mba ne mbɛyi wo yaw nyinaa mfi hɔ. May they replenish your emptiness, and may your children remove your reproach. When you do umbra na wanhom nka no ho ti dem a Jochebed FM dem a Jochebed na hom ɔka no ho. Wɔfrɛ me Sɔfo Gate nyame yɛ adom a the sende yɛbɔtoa na dama mekɛn no ɛsɛndɛ yɛbɛkasa afa ɛna foforɔ, another mother of destiny. Wɔfrɛ no Jedida ina ɔyɛ ɔhen Josiah ne maame. And just as Jochebed represents faith and fortitude, Jedida also represents nurture and nobility. We will do that, God willing, next week. Until then, I pray that the good Lord will preserve you. I pray that the good Lord will hold you and bless you and give you the strength to stay for your children, give you the wisdom to raise your children in the fear of the Lord, help you give solid foundation to your children so that as they grow, no doctrine, no devil, no deception will take them away from the faith you place in them. Nyame onhyira na ɔnka wo ho. Barikiwe. Be blessed. Nyame adoma next week ebesana so. Thine is the kingdom. Or from Sophogate. Na Murpony Minsan in Sidude Wednesday Biara every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. I have a program dubbed Lunchtime with Fathers. This program comes on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Asempa FM. Every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Just check me out on JB Gate and join me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So we'll catch you on Wednesday. Say same and that's on the same Wednesday. Wednesdays we talk about fathers. It's lunchtime with fathers. And then Sundays we talk about mothers. This is Pastor Gate, and I'm out of here. Why?